यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी माधवा कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना ब्रज जन यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय 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 ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर षट्सी श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शीला प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर षट्सी श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस शीला भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की नमो विष्णु पदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामे नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय शीला प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय हरे कृष्ण You can please chant the invocation prayers with me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Now let's chant together. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udiraye nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki krishnaya vasudevaya देवकी नंदनाय चा नंद गोपाल कुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपा स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्. Hare Krishna. We are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 24. The title is The Renunciation of Kardamuni. So if you would like to open the verse, it will be 3:24:47. Last verse of this chapter. Would like to thank all of you for joining today Srimad Bhagavatam class at ISKCON Farmington Hills in person and online. Thank you, dear devotees, for joining. We are reading Canto 3, Chapter 24, and the verse for today is the last verse of this chapter, text 47. Hare Krishna. 3:24:47. Ichha dvesha vihinena sarvatra samachetasa bhagavad bhakti yuktena prapta bhagavati gatihi. Ichha dvesha vihinena sarvatra samachetasa bhagavad bhakti yuktena prapta bhagavati gati. Ichha dvesha vihinena sarvatra samachetasa bhagavad bhakti yuktena prapta bhagavati gati. Ichha dvesha vihinena sarvatra samachetasa bhagavad bhakti yuktena prapta bhagavati gati. Mataji's. Ichha dvesha vihinena sarvatra samachetasa bhagavad bhakti yuktena prapta bhagavati gati. Okay, so we'll read the word-to-word translations. Ichha, desire, dvesha, and hatred. Vihinena, freed from. Sarvatra, everywhere. Sam, equal. Chetasa, with the mind. Bhagavat, unto the personality of Godhead. Bhakti yuktena, by discharging devotional service. Prapta, was attained. Bhagavati gatihi, the destination of the devotee, going back home, back to Godhead. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charan Arvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Translation: freed from all hatred and desire, Kardam Muni, freed from all hatred and desire, Kardam Muni, being equal to everyone because of discharging uncontaminated devotional service, Bhagavad Bhakti Yuktena, ultimately attained the path back to Godhead. Purport: as stated in Bhagavad Gita, only by devotional service can one understand the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord, and after understanding him perfectly in his transcendental position, enter into the kingdom of God. The process of entering into the kingdom of God is Tripad Bhuti Gati, or the path back home, back to Godhead, by which one can attain the ultimate goal of life. Kardam Muni, by his perfect devotional knowledge and service, achieved this ultimate goal, which is known as Bhagavati Gati. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport of the third canto, 24th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Renunciation of Kardam Muni. So this is the okay. I thought we can end there. Hare Krishna. So I would like to seek blessings of all the exalted Vaishnavas here present in person and online. So Om Agyan Timirandasya Jnanam Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pacharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Pashyat Deshatare Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Vancha Kaltarubhyashta Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vacharam pangum langhayate girim yat krapatam aham vande Shri Gurum Deenataranam Paramanandam Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. There's a deep relation between this last verse that we speak in our bhav and the topic of today. We say Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat krapa tam aham vande. And then the actual verse is Paramanandam Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. But we know how to get the mercy of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We say Yat Krapatam Aham Vande Shri Gurun Deenataranam. I will come back on this point at the end, towards the end of my presentation today. How we are very clear that to get the mercy of the Lord, it has to be through the Guru. So this is the last verse of chapter 24. This conversation has been going on where Maitreya Muni is speaking to Vidura, and he is talking about different incarnations and Lord Kapila's advent. We are preparing for that. So it starts with Kardam Muni. His position is described that he is a very advanced transcendentalist. And then he desires that the Lord he wants a son like Lord. And who is like Lord? It is Lord himself. There's nobody like Lord. So if you want a son like Lord, it has to be Lord himself. And then the description of Devahuti, Swayambhuva, Manu's daughter. That description comes. Then how their marriage happens, how she was the very qualified lady to be the wife of exalted Kardam Muni. And then the last chapter just before this was the lamentation of Devahuti after all the desires were fulfilled by her husband, provided her with a floating celestial palace to live in, maid servants to take care of her after roaming around the universe for 100 autumn seasons, enjoying very nicely. Shri Shri Radha Gopi Janvallabh Bhagwan ki jai. Shri Shri Nitai Patit Pavan Gaura Hari ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So after all her desires were fulfilled materially, she saw that Kardam Muni is ready to leave. And that's when that moment hits her heart that Kardam Muni is such an advanced transcendentalist. He's not just a mystic who can create celestial palaces in thin air. He will go back home, back to Godhead. And here I had all these material desires. I want to enjoy, need a home, need kids and everything. And he gave it. And now he is going for that big leap. What did I do? I was with this person for hundreds of years and I did not seek that what he could have given me, the spiritual progress. So, and now it's too late. Now he's like, okay, you asked for everything and now it's time for me to take sannyas. So she has run out of time. And so she was lamenting. This was the last chapter, right? And then she says, what was the use of my life? What did I do? And so then she says, okay, now with whatever we did so far, now I have 9 daughters. They will all get married and they will go. And then husband will also go. So now what would happen? So at that point, she says that now I request you to please, give me the boon of a son who can help me on my path of spiritual progress. And at that time in this chapter begins where Kardam Muni, so the chapter's name is Renunciation of Kardam Muni. So I will just give a quick synopsis of this and then we'll get into today's verses, So he recalls, he asks Mother Devahuti to recollect that Lord Vishnu, do you remember he himself had said that he will come as your son? So there's no need to lament. And what you have asked, this desire that you have, that you want to spiritually progress now, your son will fulfill it. So please do not lament. Okay. And then he says that you took vows. That entire chapter, the majority of the previous chapter described how Devahuti gave her life serving to Kardam Muni. What Kardam Muni did, what he achieved, when we see the path of bhakti, when we see the path of dhyan yoga, we realize it's extremely difficult, especially the dhyan yoga, it's extremely difficult. To go back home, back to Godhead is, Prabhuji would say, His Grace Yugal Kishore Prabhuji, the path is simple, but it's not easy. You have to go far on that, right? So Srila Prabhupada could achieve it, Kardam Muni could achieve it, Ramanujacharya could achieve it, several acharyas could achieve it, and sometimes we find it very difficult, especially Arjuna. Arjuna is saying, Are Dhyan Yoga, I can control and change the direction of the wind, but I cannot control my mind. Arjuna is saying that it is difficult. It's not a Kalyugi guy telling you, right? It's Arjuna is saying that it is difficult. So what is our hope? So Devahuti is exemplifying what we can do. She serves Kardam Muni with all her heart and soul. And then as a result, Kardam Muni in the previous chapter, he tells Devahuti when he looks at her that my heart is melted by your service. So whatever I have achieved by my tap, samadhi, and the knowledge that I have gained, Divya Gyan, Hriday Prakashito, that Divya Gyan, transcendental knowledge by which I have attained the results of all these difficulties, right? I will bless you that you can also receive those. That is our hope. That is our hope. That if we can dedicate our lives to serving somebody who has attained this, then simply being pleased by our little efforts, they will impart you that what they have achieved by taking immense austerities. So Srila Prabhupada would impart that, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur would impart that, our Guru Maharajas would impart that, and they will do that because we have given our lives to our Guru. So here, if you see, it is said that, and we will talk about the previous part, but the last part of the translation of this word, free from all hatred and desire, Kardam Muni being equal to everyone, by discharging uncontaminated devotional service, what happened? He ultimately attained the path back to Godhead. So he is going back home, back to Godhead. And those who will worship such a personality with all their heart and soul, wholeheartedly, they will be happy and they will bless that. Okay, I got this ticket with great difficulty, but I am happy. So here's, you also take this ticket. Right? So that is the hope for Devahuti and us. Right? So that's why this back to Godhead is for us is Yat Krapatamaham Vandeshi Gurun Deenataranam. Right? So I'll come back to that again. So continuing further, then what happens here? Kardam Muni, in the beginning of this chapter, he is pacifying Mother Devahuti. And he says that when the Lord will appear, he will bring fame to you. And when you will hear from him the teachings of Sankhya Yoga, okay, then all your knots of attachment in this world, they will be destroyed. And then you will also attain this success. After that, this chapter goes on to describe the signs of Lord appearing, the demigods, they are in the skies, and there are celebrations, and then Brahma comes, Lord Brahma comes over there, okay, and he speaks, and he tells Lord Kardam Muni, he tells Kardam Muni that I am very happy with you, my son. You followed my instructions, whatever I told you, simply by saying, yes, sir. And and then that's how one should follow the instructions of his guru to attain perfection. After that, he glorified the 9 daughters, and then he said that now you give your daughters in marriage to the sages, okay, and that ways he will be done with his responsibilities, although he doesn't have to, because he's already liberated. He doesn't have to, he is not obligated to take care of any of his responsibilities. But like Krishna explains to Arjuna in the initial chapters of Bhagavad Gita, that even when the perfected beings are not obligated to anything over here in this world, they still do it. They still do it to set the right example. And after that, Lord Brahma leaves, and Lord Kapila, he, as Brahmaji said, he gave his daughters in marriage, and then Kapila Muni appears. So when he appears, when Kardam Muni realized that the Lord has appeared when nobody was around, he took that baby Kapila Muni to seclusion, and then he talks to him because he knows this is Lord Vishnu. He actually praises him, he prayers to him, and then he says that now you please instruct me, and I will, by your permission, I will take to the path of renunciation. And Kapila Muni replies back to the father that yes, now you have done your duties, and now you go and you meditate upon me. You meditate upon me, and you renounce from this, and you go around in this entire world, and don't be attached to even a place or anything of this material world, and then go back home. Okay. What does Kardam Muni do after this? Kardam Muni circumambulated Lord Vishnu Kapila Muni, and he left from there. I was just trying to meditate on this part a little bit. So, I mean, what would happen if I see Lord in front of me? So my feelings, how I would try to think is that, okay, maybe I can think of somebody who is an extremely famous person. Let's start with that point. That let's say there's somebody extremely famous sitting over there, and I have meditated on that person for years, right? And he's going to be there in front of. My feeling, honestly, would be, if I'm imagining, right, it would be like I'm in awe. I would be like, he's here. He's in front of me, right? I don't know. And that's when I realized, how it happens. What comes first? So Krishna in chapter 10, and the last two words are important of this verse. Krishna mentions Aham Sarvasya Prabhava Matta Sarvam Pravartate Iti Matva. Those who know this, that Krishna is everything. Iti Matva Bhajante Mam Buddha Bhava Samanvita. In that, Srila Prabhupada explains that those who worship, what happens to them? They get Buddha, both the knowledge of the Lord, and Bhava Samanvita. Bhav. They have this devotional mood. So what comes first? First comes the devotional mood, then comes the bodh, the knowledge. So that means when we are given a service or that adhikar, when it's about to happen that you are going to see the Lord, this bhav, it is gone by then. Because the bhav in which you are going to have your devotional feelings toward the Lord will surpass all other moods and bhavs. Knowledge will go. And see, why does a person feel like, when I imagine that I would see Krishna, 2-3 things are happening in that. What first is that I am not with Krishna right now in spirit, internally. So his vision is like, oh, something is changing. That is first. Second, I don't feel like he's mine. Most important point. Like if a celebrity walks in, I don't know them, they don't know me. Then it's like, oh, this is the first time I'm seeing this person. This is so great. But if your son grows up and becomes a celebrity and he walks in, he's yours. You don't feel like, he's coming, because he belongs to you. So what will happen first? Will first Krishna come and give his darshan, or first that bhav will come that Krishna is mine? Right? Krishna is mine. Adhikar. How do you get that adhikar? How do you get that belongingness? It only comes because of service. Seva. And what kind of seva? A seva which is devoted to spiritual master. My spiritual master belongs to Krishna, and I belong to my spiritual master. That's why Krishna belongs to us. From that seva comes the satisfaction. What kind of satisfaction? That kind of satisfaction because of which right now in sadhana bhakti, I feel like I have to attain something. Right now I don't have it, but I have to attain something. Okay, so if you will see the synopsis of what happens beyond this, right, it will briefly describe what kind of feelings and what kind of platform Kardam Muni had achieved because he had achieved that transcendental realization. We will see those qualities. That is the renunciation of Kardam Muni, which is the gist of this. But to finish the point that I was speaking, before somebody sees the Lord in front of him, the Buddha Bhava Samanvita has happened. Right? Mat chitta mat gata prana bodhyanta parasparam. Kathayantas. Thank you, Prabhu. Kathayantas No, this is not the verse I wanted to say. Sorry, Prabhu. I was talking about Dadami Buddhi Yogam, right? Tesham satatam yaktanam bhajatam priti purvakam, then Dadami Buddhi Yogam. So that means what is priti purvakam? You are doing devotional service is a very important point that Prabhuji would mention, Yugal Kishore Prabhuji would mention, that you are doing devotion, but is it priti purvak? Are there feelings involved in that? A simple example, I'm cooking every day. Now my son's birthday is coming. So then I start thinking, I'll ask him, okay, what does he like? This is Preeti Purva. Okay, it's your birthday. You tell me, what do you like? We will prepare that today. Right? So when that Preeti Purvak is there in the devotion, we start thinking more and more about what Lord likes. What does he like? Okay, I'm doing this. What would he like me to do? In every situation. Right? So Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport of that verse that Bhava Samanvita, or this Preeti Purvak, right? This emotion is doing it wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly. Can you imagine when you do something wholeheartedly? Wholeheartedly means you are thinking about that particular service that you want to do through as many ways as you can. I can do this also, this can also be done, I can put this also. Then it's not just about doing something in a bare minimum way. You are thinking about how to make it artistic, how to make it look good, how to bring more purpose, how to everything, because your whole heart is in that. Right? Then that Dadami Buddhi Yogam. Then Krishna will give that knowledge by which what happens? You can come to me. You can come to me. You can come to Krishna. Then we come to Krishna. By that time, the bhav has overpowered all other feelings. And now that knowledge is there. Divya Gyan, Hridaya Prakashito, because of which you are able to see the Lord in front of you. Right? In that situation, Kardam Muni is doing what he's supposed to do. So he's supposed to circumambulate the Lord and then leave. And he's doing that, as a matter of like what needs to be done. If I put myself in that most unprepared consciousness over there, I will be standing still in front of the Lord, blank. I don't know what to do. I don't have adhikar. I don't have satisfaction. So everything, so this is the process. So I will talk a little more about the process, but first I want to now just quickly see what all qualities have been mentioned as what Kardam Muni has attained. Okay, so he fixed his mind on Krishna, mat chitta mat gata prana, right? He took the vow of silence because that was the yug dharma of that time. He took the vow of silence so that he could meditate on the Lord constantly. And he was unaffected by false ego. What do you mean by unaffected by false ego? False ego means there are desires that you want to fulfill which have got nothing to do with Krishna. Why do you want to do that? Because you are trying to achieve something, attain something in this material world. The satisfaction is still outwardly. So here it is said that he was undisturbed from the world outside. He became free from moha and he turned inward completely. So the satisfaction in spirituality comes before you see the Lord. The definition of Vaikuntha is a place where there is no kuntha, where there are no complaints. You do not first go to a place which is perfect and then feel perfect. You feel perfect first and then you are placed into a perfect place. Isn't that amazing? Right? So you attain that where you are fully satisfied and then you are placed into a dimension which is fully satisfying. Right? So this is inwardly. This is the quality of inwardly. So I was listening to a very nice example of Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojan. Sambandha, so there was a very, a silly advertisement of a automobile. The company is saying that buy this car, this beautiful car, to envy your neighbor. So the sambandha is that, okay, there is this car and you drive it. Okay, you can drive it. So okay, so me and car that I own. Okay, then what is abhideya? The process to achieve it. So I need to take a loan or something. Okay, and then what is the prayojan? Prayojan, the goal is you will be able to envy the other, your neighbor, by driving this car. So so what happens? Okay, you do the process, you take the loan, okay, and then you drive the car, and now because you heard this whatever nonsensical idea, you look at the neighbor, and the neighbor, where when you look you realize that he has a more luxurious car than you. So this is the nature of material world. In nature of material world is that you start with a process hoping you will get this prayojan, but when you put your entire abhideya, the process, you do not get the goal. Okay, so when we are looking for satisfaction outwardly, you put so much time in that, but when you get there, the satisfaction is not there. It is momentarily, it's temporary. And so we move on to something else. Then again, we move on to something else. And it is such a universal fact, there is no doubt about it, that Narad Muni tells, when he had to start Vedanta Sutra, he said, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. He says, therefore, now inquire about the absolute. Because he knows that by your nature, by your real constitution, a soul is looking for Ananda through using its chitta. How regularly? Sat, eternally. Eternally you are looking for, you are curious for Ananda. And as long as you are looking for it outwardly, it will keep dying after some time, that satisfaction from different objects. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. That's where Vedanta Sutra, the conclusion of all the Vedas, start with a connecting, a conjunction. It's a conjunction. So the first thing is implicit. Narad Muni is saying, we know that you are not satisfied in this material world. Therefore, now inquire about the absolute truth. You turn inwardly for your satisfaction. When that happens, then everything else will follow. Okay. So Kardam Muni, because of that, he became undisturbed. He became equal to everyone. He became calm, and he was situated in devotional service, bhakti bhavena. Okay, he started seeing Paramatma within his heart. And then today's verse talks about freedom from all hatred and desire. So these are the last 2 points where I would like to mention. A very important word for a Madhyamadhikari is the ability to discriminate, as in the ability that intelligence provides us what is good for me and what is not good for me. Okay, this may sound very useless if I don't have a goal. So that is the main topic I want to talk about. Here it is said Kardam Muni, he ultimately attained path back to Godhead. Do we have a goal in spirituality? We talked about Guru, right? I've been listening to some of the leaders in material world nowadays. They say, if you have a goal, write it down, meditate constantly on it, and think of all the ways how you can attain it. If you don't write your goal down, it is not a goal. It is just a wish. It is just a wish. You are just wishing, it's not a goal. Okay, what is your wish on this path of spirituality? So the leadership, all the leadership, this courses and whatever, all they do is they make you think about your goal again and again and again and again. Otherwise, it will just remain a wish. So what is your goal? If really this goal that you want to go back home, back to Godhead is too lofty, it's something that does not inspire you so much, it doesn't inspire me as much as the goal that I want to serve my Guru inspires. That is a more relatable goal that I can think of and meditate upon on a moment to moment basis. Serving my Guru. And I know by that, okay, whatever happens, happens. But serving my Guru, that is my goal. So how do I strengthen it? I need to think about that. People say, write it down. Write it down. Write it down. If you are living a very busy life, write it down under your shower. That's where you can think, you can look at it, And Krishna is telling in Chatushloki Bhagavatam, right? Those who worship me wholeheartedly. When you do something, do it wholeheartedly. At least our goal, right? That one goal. Let's do it wholeheartedly. What will happen because of that is that your determination increases. You have a goal. When there's a goal, then this verse becomes very relevant in your life. Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha purunandana. Bahushakhai anantascha buddhayo vyavasaya. Now I have a goal. So now it becomes very important what is going to help me on my goal and what is not going to help me in my goal. Becomes very clear, right? Then the most important word for a Madhyamadhikari is discrimination. What is good for me, what is not good. So you go through this, okay? Dhyan Yoga talks about yam and niyam in that sense. There are do's and don'ts that you will have to do. Something that you eat, something that you avoid. When you eat, when you don't eat. When you get up, when you sleep, these things become important because they are all geared towards that one goal that you want to move towards. I was meditating upon this word, free from all hatred and desire. And I realized that the goal can be linear, that from the beginning to end, my goal is, okay, I want to serve Guru, I want to serve Srila Prabhupada's movement. That's the vows that I took for which the Lord will bless me, that I can do that. But how you will do, what you will speak, what will be your attitude towards people, it is not linear in nature. You cannot take just one thing and run with it for next 20 years, right? Which means that in the beginning, it is extremely important for a devotee to do exclusive devotion, exclusivity. It's extremely important. Exclusively Krishna, exclusively Gaudiya Vaishnava, exclusively Gaudiya Vaishnava bhajans. Exclusivity is important so that we can focus and intensify our devotion. Once you have your base strong and you can stand on this, then inclusivity in terms of being inclusive of all other people, all other different faiths, and appreciating different philosophies is very important. So mutual exclusion for what I am doing and inclusivity of other faiths and other people, other religions is also important. Appreciating them for who they are. Appreciating anybody who's walking on the path of knowledge, transcendental knowledge. Right? Knowledge is that which, then the difference. So now the duality, so now I am non-dual in my attitude towards transcendentalists, but I realize that all the problems, big or small in this world, happen because of avidya, ignorance. Violence happens because of ignorance. So many things happen because of ignorance. So I still have the duality that a Madhyama Adhikari is operating on, where I appreciate transcendentalists and I say that this ignorance is destroying you. Ignorance is causing violence in the world. So there is still this duality. This goes for a very, very long way. But then as our absorption increases in the Lord, when a person attains more and more Uttama platform in that sense, then you start becoming oblivious to the happenings of this world also. Happenings of this world also. Because that is the nature of this material world. And you cannot change the nature of this material world. You can be the shining lamp, whoever comes in contact with you, as much close as they get to know, hear about Krishna. You can change yourself, but you cannot change the nature Maya works. You cannot change how people are born in ignorance in this world. You cannot change that innate nature. And so, in that stage, you become peaceful even with those things that otherwise you would have had not hatred, but some sort of aversion or avoidance. So that was the point I was meditating upon. Another point was when we meet non-devotees, how to deal with them. That is another austerity. Sometimes, Srila Prabhupada said social engagements are austerities. We have to do that, and if our goal is very intense in our heart, it will create deep sense of separation from what you would otherwise like to do. So that sort of negative association also helps you positively, right? So that was one thought, and just the last thought again went back to this very point, that the devotees, if I see just one problem with me, is complacency. Complacency means I become lazy in that sense. And just to elaborate further on that, what is the idea of anartha nivritti? We talk about lust, anger, greed, pride, and we want to get rid of that. Anger. Radharani gets angry from Krishna. Man, Yashoda Mai gets angry with Krishna, right? So the problem is not anger. Okay. And these are true emotions. Emotions are not wrong. The expression of emotion can be wrong. That is point number one. How you express any emotion, that can be wrong. That is point number one. That goes the same with lust also. Okay. Don't meditate upon it, gone, right? So the idea of anartha nivritti is directly related to, does it result in you doing something which is an anartha? Anartha means which is not artha. Artha means meaning or valuable or purposeful. So if I ended up not doing what I was supposed to do, or I ended up spending time based on one of these feelings, I would realize they were of no use. For example, I got angry and I got into an argument for 2 hours. And because of that, all the services that I could have done with that person, maybe my spouse or whatever, all those also got delayed for next 5 days. This is anartha. So anarthas, the entire idea of anartha nivritti is that if it is resulting in waste of time because I am not engaging myself in some valuable thing that I could have done towards my goal, that is something that I want to reduce in my life. And if our lives are completely directed to that one spiritual goal, which is the ultimate for me, and if I am able to consistently do that, anartha nivritti stage is crossed. Okay. So it goes back to that, have a spiritual goal, take your time, do all your research. Is there anything that you want to do more than this? And I'll end with this last example. I've been speaking to a lot of my old friends now. So I spoke to this one friend of mine, and he said that, he slowed down in his career a little bit. And I was like, why? What happened? And he was like, I got this job for 5 years, in some time period. And it was low paying job, but the work was only 1 or 1.5 hours per week. So I was like, that is very nice. I mean, all the devotees wished we had jobs like that, right? But then because I was able to compare it with a devotee's life, and I know that this friend is not a devotee, it hit me very hard that I mean, What did you do with all the time that you had at hand? It was very good that your job was very less stressful, hardly 1 or 1.5 hours, and so you were like, oh, even if I don't get paid, what's the point? What's the use? It's okay. But then he just wasted that entire 5 years of his life doing nothing else. Nothing else. So it's like, it's good that your job was very nice, but what did you do with that time? So the takeaway is that we can be very active. And it's okay if you're not very active in your careers. They are all ugra karma anyways. Okay. But am I utilizing then all that time at hand? And you cannot utilize your time until you have a goal this big. And you cannot utilize your time for this goal this big if this goal is not very important for you. It's okay. If I achieve this, I'll become worshipable. I don't want to be worshipable. We have all sorts of thoughts which slow us down on attaining our goal. So why we don't want to serve our Guru Maharaj 24/7? And if we want to, then why are we not talking about it, thinking about it? That are the questions I'm asking myself, actually, and how I can align everything so that, yes, now whatever comes for that. If I need to understand Karma Yoga to make sure that my work is as much aligned with this, then yes, I will read, and I'll read the if I want to understand the nature of Krishna, then yes, I want to read all whatever is needed so that I can understand the bhav of Krishna, the bhav of Srila Prabhupada, because he has written Bhakti Vedanta purports. You pick up all other Bhagavad Gitas, you won't find Bhakti Vedanta purports, you won't find Krishna consciousness in each explanation of the shloka. So what is the bhav of the Guru whom I'm trying to serve? Is that not important? So then everything becomes important. Then everything becomes relevant to that goal. So that is my takeaway from the renunciation of Kardam Muni. that to attain that, let's try to meditate more upon what we want to ultimately do in our spiritual lives. So with that, I'd like to stop, and really sorry for going a little over time. If you have any comments or points to add, please go ahead. Prabhuji.
Thank you for a very nice information and appreciate it. I just wanted to maybe elaborate more, or anyone in the audience share more about when you spoke about knowledge and mood. It seems like to cultivate the mood from knowledge, and to continue that mood, you need to do service with the knowledge. So they are complementary to each other rather than one is exclusive of the other.
Yeah.
You could share something more about that. I mean, you already did, but
sure. Yeah. Okay. Yes. In this world, knowledge comes first, then comes realization. The knowledge about the self can be given in one line. You are not this body, you are a soul. So knowledge always comes first. Realization follows after that, when we work upon it. Mood is non-existent until you are doing something with that mood. So I'm doing service, and then what is my mood? Like, bhajatam priti purvakam. So bhajatam is happening, and then the priti purvak is the mood with which you are doing bhajatam. Otherwise, priti purvak, what are you doing? Okay, I have a lot of love for, let's say my spouse. And it stops there. Then there is no service. There is no activity. And then they will say, what is the use? You just keep saying you love, you don't do anything. Right? So, yeah. So knowledge comes first. That results in activity. That activity, if we bring preeti in it, if we bring emotions in it, then it becomes devotional service. And it is cyclical in nature. With that comes some initial idea of Divya Gyan, transcendental experience. Because of that, again, you get some more knowledge. You realize how you can intensify your bhajan, how you can intensify your mood in that. Based on that, more Divya Gyan will be revealed. So it's a cycle. Starts with knowledge. That's why Shravanam becomes most important, because any topic of spirituality cannot be introduced without Shravanam. So the starting of that spiral is Shravanam. From there comes knowledge, from there comes service, then should come Preeti. Like that it goes. And it intensifies these same points again and again. Please add to it.
Example of Dhruv Maharaj. So he was just going in the forest, and then Narad Muni came and he told about Lord. Somehow in that way he got the knowledge.
Yes.
But he did not got full knowledge. Like I mean to say that when he was doing after 6 months, when Lord appeared from his heart, he wanted to speak about Lord, but he was not knowing what to speak. So Lord himself gave him knowledge by touching the conch. So is it related? Means you were meaning to say
It's
that
totally
way?
related.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what.
it's totally related. It's like what basically is being said, that real pure devotional service begins post liberation. So he got all the knowledge how he can at least attain the level of liberation, right? And the instruction from Narad Muni brought him up till that point. Now when you're seeing the Lord, he is the source of everything. So he'll pick it up from there. It's like we will take it from here, you know. So yeah,
It is like he became like you told, right, that satisfaction will come from within. But when he saw Lord, he came within his heart only, but still he was like Lord is here, so he was still having that.
So that's a very good point, Prabhuji. The word that actually I wrote down and I wanted to speak about was gravity. Gravity means seriousness. The seriousness, the gravity because of which the initial frivolous nature that a person has who's not serious in bhakti, right? Or yeah, and the relation with the Lord. See, I don't know the Lord. Even do we know the Lord like that? You know, we read about him so much. You know, we may experience some rasa in the Leela, but is it anywhere close to actually having Krishna in front of us? No. But with Guru is giving us that path by which we can reach that point. Right? So right now, the most important thing is getting detached from material world. So Dhruv Maharaj very successfully crossed all those material barriers, you know, Dvesha, Dvanda, this, that, anger that actually was the starting point, Rajogun, Sattva, all that he has crossed, and he has now been disconnected from this material world. That's why this path is more difficult. The path of Dhruv Maharaj and path of Kardam Muni is extremely difficult, because first you have to get rid of all these crazy things of this world. Then Lord reveals further and this, that, right? Everything. But in Krishna consciousness, it's like our goals and means are the same. That's why we start getting the taste of transcendental mellows very in the very beginning of our process itself. That's the difference, right? But the intensity, there is no match, right? When the Lord will appear, even what would we know what to do, right? So I was hearing some devotee answer that that knowledge, that Divya Gyan, that what is your service in the spiritual world, how you will do it, that would be revealed to you not right now, right? So even we don't have that. We also need that touch of conch from the Lord there to know what our service will be and how we'll do it, right? So which will happen through Guru, through the agency of Guru. We don't go to Krishna. Krishna, I came here. What is going to be my service? What have you planned something for me? I have to fill in my time sheet, right? So, so not like that. That will be revealed through the agency of Guru to us also, not just Dhruva.
One more.
Sure, no?
I just got this again. Sorry,
Sorry, Prabhuji, that you are saying so.
Because sometimes it is in so many of our past, and sometimes there is them right that we know our service before we go there, like Manjaris, all they got their Siddha Deha before leaving the body. So they came to know what is their service before. So like, so it depends on Dhruv Maharaj process was like Ashtanga Yoga process. That's why, and ours is Bhakti Yoga. That's why we will be revealed. Is there something different in the process?
No. Probably. But one important point is that death is not a milestone on spiritual progress. It's not that something will be revealed at the time of death. I'm excitedly waiting for it. Nothing will happen. Death has nothing to do with spiritual progress. If you have attained Krishna, you will attain him in this life, right? So that's the whole point. So nothing will happen at the time of death, or like or in that sense. Okay, yeah. I mean, when Lord is revealed, yeah. Do you want to add, Shyam Kishore?
Normally, yeah, but as far as I understood the process, the way our process works is that we know our swarup, we know our seva before we die, and it will happen at death also. It can happen. Like just quoting Ayendra Prabhu was quoting thing Bhaktivinoda Thakur or something, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, someone has attained bhav, then one can attain prem at the time of death. It is possible.
Wow.
But generally the process is by the holy name, stage by stage you go, and then basically unless you attain prema, you cannot go back to Godhead. Another option is you can go to Bhoma Vrindavan, and you may not attain prema, but on the stage of bhava, you can in that stage you cry for Krishna, and and then bhav becomes transformed to prem. But yeah, generally the Guru reveals either it can be at the time of death, it can be before death. I mean, different situations, but basically, and most of the times revealed before death only. Why? Because this revelation of seva and Siddha and all these things, they happen at the stage of ruchi bhava. I mean, ashakti bhava. So if someone is going back to Godhead, it's very obvious to them that they are going back to Godhead because they have that. And those flavors start coming even before itself. Like exactly. As Nishtha towards Ruchi, those flavors of Bhav, the Seva, the mood, it starts coming. But the specifics are revealed at a later stage. But yeah, I mean, it's up to Guru's desire basically. When he wants to reveal, it's up to him. But normally, according to Shastra, it happens at the stage of Bhav. Either the stage of Bhav or Prem, it happens. And it can happen at death also. If Mahaprabhu gives, and the process Mahaprabhu does that souls who are lingering on the platform of Bhava. And Prabhupada said, if you're 75% pure, I can take you back to Godhead. So 75% pure, according to Shastra, is Nishtha. Nishtha, you can say Ruchi. So, I mean, Prabhupada is a Siddha associate, Nitya Siddha, so maybe he can do that. I mean, we cannot say, but for our understanding, yeah, it's good for us to think that if I don't attain prema, then I won't go back to Godhead. Yeah. So yeah, it's good for us to think. I mean, from their side, if they want to give mercy, it's their thing. But for us, it's good to think that unless we attain Krishna Prem, we cannot go back to Godhead. It's good to think like that. But this is according to Shastra, what Shastra says. And so many devotees, like this is a practical thing. And in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, yeah, I mean, it may be a little different. It may not be the same, but the internal process is the same. Like, for example, externally, one may not chant 60 Purana, but the internal development is the same. So, yeah. Sorry, bro, I'm really sorry.
I'm sorry that you're sorry. Why are you sorry?
Calling his footsteps.
Fun.
Especially like you said that you have to first have inclusiveness and then you can go
exclusive.
Yeah. Yes.
But first we have to be inclusive, like follow our parampara and all. So that
No,
means
he said what? First we should be exclusive. Then
First
exclusive.
parampara. First parampara, establish ourselves. Yeah, and this is directly in line with Updeshamrit. Srila Rup Goswami says, right, to avoid the association of non-devotees or something. So in every person's life, it is very important that time comes when we are only. So let me avoid those confusing words. Just that we are totally surrendered to this one path and be firmly fixed in our convictions, in our practice, in whatever we do. And when we are fixed on that, I'm willfully avoiding the things which are not directly in line with signature Gaudiya Vaishnava, signature ISKCON, Prabhupada, Parampara. And once I'm situated in that for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever time it takes for me, then it's like, okay, that now I'm developing that outlook towards others, that when they come to me, I'm able to appreciate them, at the same time not speak ill of anyone else and my own beliefs also.
and if I want to continue in the same, I don't want to be inclusive of others. That is an offense.
No, it's not an offense. It's what will happen, Mataji, is that what I realized at least is that I can be in that, and that is the right thing to do. And we should always be, our heart should always be there. So that is the most important thing. But then I took a vow that I would try to serve in Srila Prabhupada's mission, and which means that I may have to talk to people who are not Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So when I talk to them, what kind of bhav do I have? Would there be any negativity in that? At least we should get rid of that negativity, any negative thoughts. So we need to reconcile. And as I said, there are 3 steps to it. One is somebody is in ignorance. You cannot appreciate ignorance. We cannot. How would you appreciate ignorance? Somebody is being violent, let's say. You cannot appreciate violence. So we are not appreciating them. That is a very high platform where somebody is saying, okay, you are looking at, and that is actually adharma. Adharma, if I'm seeing violence and I think, oh, this is the nature of material world. Nature of material world will help me be peaceful internally. But externally, I will have to do what is needed from being a responsible citizen of wherever I am, and I'm seeing something which is wrong. I have to voice my opinion. When I go back, when I sit down with my beat bag, I am peaceful because I know this is the nature of material. Right? But so we do have, no matter how introvert a person is, you have to talk to some people who are not Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Right? So for that, how will they see you? How will they see Srila Prabhupada being represented by you? Would they see, these people are all very negative. They always look down upon us. No, we want to present the real love that Srila Prabhupada had, the compassion, the Jeev Daya, right? So that Jeev Daya should start after I have established myself very strongly in my convictions. And that Jeev Daya is a very high platform. It's Srila Prabhupada platform. But at least how should I represent Srila Prabhupada and my Guru so that people don't feel negative about what they have given? So
that means it's just like external.
Absolutely.
External
Yeah.
association.
Yeah.
For the teaching purpose.
Yeah.
Nothing actually importing from there.
Absolutely no importing. Absolutely no importing. It could be anything. See, if like I heard one Srila Prabhupada disciple, one Mataji, she's for 40 years, she's been waking up the deities in Denver every morning. We were there for 1:30 or 2 o'clock for Janmashtami, right? Next day, 3:30 in the morning, she's again there. And mostly by that time she's done with her rounds also. That day it fails my consciousness how she was even able to chant rounds, right? But she said that for her service to the deities, at one point she realized that her back was troubling or whatever. So she took some parts of Hatha Yoga and she performed that so that she could come back on track and perform her bhakti, continue to do that. So that kind of hut yoga is fine. I know several brahmacharis who in the morning they get up and they do some yogic exercises so that they can stay fit. So that's why that bhav, my goal, when that becomes very strong and I am fixed in my sadhana, the important parts, the most important parts of my sadhana, they are there, they must be there. Then if there's anything else needed, then it can be anything which will help me go further. I need that. Srila Prabhupada was like, we need all the money. Why do you need the money? We need all the money because he's going to put it in Krishna's service. So then that angle also comes late in the game, I can say.
Yeah, I have a question, but you can end because of this.
Okay. So thank you so much, dear devotees, dear Vaishnavas on Zoom. If you do not have any comments that you would like to add, then we can stop here. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat.
Dandavat pranam, Prabhuji.
Ended it?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
ग्रंथ राज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय एंड अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की